My name is Monica Estabrook, and I've been a photographer for about 12 years. I started studying art with art history at the University of South Carolina, and then I went straight and got my photography degree, my MFA, at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. After that, I got my master's in art education, and I started teaching at Stevenson Elementary. And I had a difficult time trying to figure out messages in my work after I began teaching, because in college, I felt like I was stuck in a world where I wasn't experiencing real time. I was kind of experiencing other experiences from other students rather than myself. And so when I started to become immersed in teaching, I decided to finally embrace it. And so I embraced that I was a teacher, and I started to pick up my camera again and point it at my students. And I felt that that was the best way to come to terms with me being a photographer and a teacher. From there, I went to the high school. I started to think about a new venture into my work. I decided to go with my instinct and just start shooting, and then let the idea pop out from the work. And this is what Altered Portraits is all about. It was kind of like developing film again, because I printed the picture after the photo shoot, and I gave them the picture, but I never knew what it was going to look like. So it's kind of like when you're developing negatives, you kind of get excited about what the negative is going to look like in the darkroom. It was that feeling again, and it's something that I had missed from being in the darkroom. So I got to wait a whole week to find out the development of my final picture. So that's how the project began, and I think it's still evolving, because even as the kids revisit it, the work seems to be evolving with them as well. For the most part, my first year teaching high school was pretty jarring, because I had just come from elementary where the kids were so sweet, kind, loving, and then I came to the high school and they wanted nothing to do with me. I couldn't read them. I couldn't understand what they were thinking. Elementary kids, they will tell you exactly how they feel, and when something's wrong or when something's right, when they're excited. I couldn't get anything out of the high school kids. So this was kind of a way for me to get to know them and to find out what they're thinking and what's going on in their brain. And I think I've learned a lot about the kids from this experience.
My name is Haley, and I became a part of this project because I was always in the art room. I was in art club, but I would always come on days that weren't art club days, and Miss Estabrook just asked me to be a part of the project, and I said yes.
My name is Joseph Anderson. One day I saw someone else doing it, and I really liked the idea of it, having a picture of yourself altered to maybe represent something else that people wouldn't be able to see on the outside. I actually wanted to try to remove some of the image, then maybe fill it in with paper behind the actual layer, i.e. the face, in order to just kind of blacken it out and use pens as well.
My name is Sierra Jackson, and I got involved with the project with Miss Estabrook. She asked me like a year ago to do it, and I agreed to do it, and I came in and took the picture, and then she told me how to alter it, but I didn't know what to do at first, and it took me a while. It took me about a week before the due date to actually do it, and I didn't know what to do at first, so I just sat in my room and was just like, okay, pick something. So I picked my favorite color, and then I picked my favorite, I guess group you could say, like culture-wise, and then I put it into the picture. And then there was a shadow in the picture that I seen, so I covered myself up and brought the shadow out because, I don't know, the shadow is just, it was more appealing than me at the time. So it's kind of how that came about.
My name is Abby Otto. I was in Miss Estabrook's 7th hour class last year when she asked me to be part of this project. Art has always been my favorite class, and Miss Estabrook has been my favorite teacher at Bloomington. So being part of her project was really special to me. And I came in after school and took a picture, and we received it a week later. And I'm a perfectionist, so I didn't want to mess up my picture at all, so I left it unaltered. I left it in my room for a week, and I think mine's the only unaltered picture.
There wasn't a specific reason. I just think that I reflected upon this more emotional, like, darker piece and wanted to add something that kind of would enlighten me and other people. And looking back on it, it's kind of not reflective of any of my artwork ever, and it kind of just demonstrates to me how much I've changed since last year. And every year I'm very different from my previous self, and that could also be explained in the photo.
Me and Miss Estabrook have always had like a special bond, so when I came in to take a picture, it was really easy because we just laughed about it. And when I got it back, I was really happy with how it came out. And now seeing it, I see it myself last year and how I've grown and changed as a person. So I think that looking back at this picture, hold on, let me just. It's okay. I think looking back at this picture, it really is a really big meaning because I've changed a lot since last year when I took this picture.
I think that through both of these projects, I've seen myself, even just by these two projects, I've seen myself develop a lot. And I think that what Miss Estabrook does, it can also display like how teenagers are constantly changing, because this was taken in my freshman year and I would have put completely different elements into this, and you're forever changing your opinions and your likes and dislikes.
It looks pretty good. I mean, it looks better than I thought it would, so I don't know. It's very abstract, I guess you can say, because the color scheme is way off than what people would think. So, you know, purple doesn't necessarily go with the Rasta colors. It's kind of not what people do, so I just changed it up. And that's kind of how she wanted it to be, was it to be you per se, not what people expect it to look like. So
I loved watching their initial reaction to them seeing their picture. And a lot of times what I would do is give it to them and then I'd walk away and I'd secretly watch them look at their picture. And I'll never forget Joe's when he picked it up and he looked at him, he said, "My hands." And then he put it back away. And, you know, I didn't know what he meant by that. But I started to relate to the way that I feel whenever I look at my pictures of myself. I start picking on the things that I think I don't like about it. And when he gave the picture back, he had covered his hands. And I just thought that was, it was a way for him to show me, you know, maybe not verbally, you know, for everyone to know, but like secretively through messages and symbolism and art. And then some kids, I remember watching one, Ari, I walked away from her, but I secretly watched her look at it, and I saw her just grin really big, like she was satisfied with her picture. But then I found it very interesting when I got it back. She had scribbled all over her face, and her face was gone, and she had kind of graffitied herself and did a name calling of herself too. So how they are in public, around each other, and, you know, with me, versus how they are when they take it home and spend time with it. And they had to spend about a week with it. And also, actually, 2 kids trampled on their picture, and they don't know each other in the school. They've never met each other. They returned their pictures about the same time, and both of them had done the same thing. So I started to think about how kids maybe don't realize that they're being influenced by others or the culture, and they think they're individuals but don't really realize that they're being influenced by others. So I think when they see it as a whole, they're going to be able to compare their thinking with each other's and how we have an entire culture of thinking here. I feel like I hope that the people who visit will learn to reconnect with teenagers and to remember what it was like when you were a teenager and had to sit in class and feel tormented or love pains for the person sitting next to you or across the room or in the other classroom, and how they're not necessarily 100% focused on their schoolwork. They're a whole person.